Hey guys, this is Matt Reister and my son Mason. We're actually in the Minneapolis airport right now, getting ready to fly to San Francisco on a little deal that we're doing. We're seeing the Yankees play in every ballpark, and we're going to see them play the Giants tomorrow, Sunday, April 28th. That'll be our 25th ballpark, so we're pumped about that, right?
Yeah.
And when game one, when did the Celtics play game one?
Sunday night.
Yeah, so my daughter Jillian, Mason's sister, is sitting over there because she hasn't seen Endgame yet. We're going to do a little impromptu review here, and she didn't want to have it spoiled. So, dude, we're amateurs. We don't do reviews. There are going to be spoilers, and so just if you don't want to know anything about the movie, you better hit pause or stop or whatever and listen to this afterwards. But Mason is the one who kind of got me into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I was never really into superheroes or anything like that, but Mason got into it. And so for the last 11 years, since Iron Man 1, right, which kicked it off, we've been staying up to date with these movies. Mason has to remind me what's going on from movie to movie. I forget, fall asleep once in a while in the theater. Anyway, Avengers Endgame was phenomenal. We went to it on opening night, Mason and some buddies and his mom, Jen, and I, and really enjoyed it. We've been talking about it on and off ever since. Mason, what were some of your favorite parts?
I don't know. Definitely, I think my favorite scene in the entire movie was the end where Iron Man snaps his fingers and kills all of Thanos' bad guys and dies doing it, but I think that's still my favorite part because it's like I am Iron Man. It's a callback, to Iron Man 1 when he's in the press conference. So I really like that. That was one of my favorites.
So in Iron Man 1, he said, "I am Iron Man."
Well,
I am Iron Man. Like he admitted it to everybody.
He had a whole speech typed up by his executives.
That's right.
And then he just threw it away and was like, "I am Iron Man."
Yes. We were also talking about how that's a little bit of a throwback to Groot, because Groot is always, or maybe Groot was a spin-off of Iron Man and I am Iron Man. He just, I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Iron Man, and then snapped. That was cool. I thought the way the movie started was awesome. Hawkeye is one of my favorite kind of B-list superheroes. I love Jeremy Renner as an actor, and the way they started the movie with Hawkeye, realizing he's just out in the yard on his farm in Kansas or something, right?
Somewhere.
With his family, and turns his back, and all of a sudden he turns back around and they're gone. And so it's like catching you up to what happened at the end of Infinity War with the Thanos snap. And I thought that was a really powerful way to start the movie. He realizes that his family's been gone, and then he's obviously on a mission for the rest of the movie to help get him back.
Yeah.
What else did you like?
Obviously when everybody came back to life after Hulk snapped his fingers and brought the rest of the half the population that died back to life, and they were all coming through Doctor Strange portal things, whatever those are called. That was really.
You mean the
really
beginning
awesome.
of the big battle?
The beginning of the big battle after Thanos came and just wiped out the whole Avengers headquarters or whatever.
That was awesome. It reminded me of two things. One is it's kind of how I picture Armageddon someday, like this biblical battle that takes place where all the forces of good and all the forces of evil are just going to, I don't know if that's exactly what's going to happen, but that kind of made me think of that. It also made me think of a scene in Zero Dark 30, the movie where the Navy SEALs go get Osama bin Laden when they get in the helicopters and take off to go on the mission. It's like the beginning of the final big battle. Very, very cool. Great cinematic features. Really awesome. What else?
Definitely, I just thought of this one. The handoff keep away with the Stark gauntlet he had.
So it was kind of a relay.
It was like a relay, yeah. So it started with Hawkeye, and then Bad Nebula, who's posing for Good Nebula.
Bad Nebula, yeah.
She's trying to get it and sneaks around, and Hawkeye's like, "Oh crap!" And so he gets it back, and then right when Hawkeye's about to go down, he tosses it to Black Panther, and then right when Black Panther gets covered up by Ebony Maw's
Black Panther was straight handling that thing like a Heisman Trophy running back.
Yeah, he was a baller.
And then Ebony Maw was trying to get him.
Then Ebony Maw gets him pinned down, and he tosses it up, and Spider-Man catches it, and then he gets to Captain Marvel, and I thought Captain Marvel was going to be powerful enough to snap her fingers and endure it, but I guess not.
When you say powerful enough, it reminds me of another thing that was awesome in the movie, Worthy Enough.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one of the greatest scenes in the movie was when Captain America holds out his hand and is worthy enough to take the hammer, Thor's hammer. That was way cool. And in the theater, do you remember everyone was like, oh, yeah, we were there on opening night, and so everyone's fired up to see it. So the crowd was into the movie and reacting, and when Captain America was finally able to take Thor's hammer, wasn't there some backstory with that? Like, didn't he try to pick it up once before?
Yeah, so in Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, they were like, they made a joke out of it. He was like, it's got to be, Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, was like, it's got to be a trick. Like, it's some circus trick. Like, if you pick it up with the right leverage or something, then it's going to work. And so he's like, go ahead, be my guest. Try to pick it up. And so everybody tried to pick it up. Iron Man got his Iron Man hand out and, like, had it all armored up. And he still couldn't pick it up. And then Captain America gets up, and he's, like, really pulling really hard. And he budges it a little bit, and Thor's like, oh, shoot, he might be able to pick it up. But then he can't pick it up. And people, one thing I heard was he couldn't pick it up because he was still holding the secret that Bucky killed Tony Stark's parents. And so after he confessed that in Civil War, then he was worthy enough to be the ruler of Asgard.
He didn't have any, like, dark secrets keeping him from being worthy. That's awesome. I didn't hear that. What else? There were so many other scenes. Hulk was perpetually Hulk. He was a huge Hulk, but he wasn't a spaz.
I know.
That was cool. And then what about Thor? What about fat and lazy Thor? One of the things I loved is I always accused Mason and his buddies of playing Fortnite too much and wasting too much time playing video games. And so I thought it was awesome. Parents, you won't want to miss this. Is when they tried to depict what somebody is like when they've totally given up on life and they're depressed and they're just completely wasting their life. They had Thor and his buddies from Ragnarok sitting around their apartment drinking beer and playing Fortnite. But that was a good scene, and it was hilarious when the first time that you saw that they were playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
That was another time when the theater was like, oh, yes! That was pretty cool.
We thought it was going to be a one-way street where, like, Fortnite collaborated with Avengers and they got stuff in the game.
Yeah.
But Fortnite actually got in the movie, too. It was two ways.
That was cool. Anything else on Thor? We were with some friends last night, and one of the women was like, she hadn't seen the movie yet. They're going to it today, I think. And she was telling us about how she says, oh, I really like Thor. He's easy on the eyes. And those of us who saw the movie were dying laughing because she's going to croak when she sees that Thor's put on about 100 pounds of this fat slob. My theory is, they're going to have to obviously bring Thor back, and he's going to have to, like, regain his body and his figure. There's no way that's Thor's last appearance on screen as a fat slob. And he never... I thought he's going to finally show up later in the movie, just being totally ripped, like he got his life together. But he never did. So that's going to have to be in another movie.
Yeah. The part where you kind of see at the beginning of the movie that Tony Stark's kind of becoming old Tony Stark from before he had, like, the revelation that can't just be about himself and he wants to protect the world. He kind of reverts back to that old Tony Stark.
What part are you talking about?
At the very beginning, when he's like
when he's about to die on the ship.
When he gets back and he's like spazzing out on Captain America, and then he goes to live with Pepper and his daughter, and it's all about him. He refuses to help them. He's like, I can't risk what I have, and then he comes back to Avengers HQ, and he has this kind of like I'm sorry, I think we're cool with Captain America moment, and that was really cool. He gives him the shield back
when he got out of the car.
Yeah, and that was really cool.
Another cool scene. We need to spend some time talking about Tony Stark and Iron Man, but another cool scene. Well, at the very beginning, he's about to die in the ship. They have like 1 day of oxygen left. Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know how much weight he lost for those scenes, but he looked terrible. Tony Stark looked terrible, and then Captain Marvel came basically and saved him, brought the ship to the headquarters, right? Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, they figured out a way, and they presented the whole nanotech thing to him, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, this is BS, it's not going to work. But then he stayed up late at night. You could tell it was just in his it was kind of in his craw, like he was going to think on this. He stays up late at night, and then he tells Pepper Potts,
I have to do this.
and he tells her, I figured it out. I figured out how time travel can work to make this happen. So obviously Tony Stark is still the brains of the operation. Goes through the movie, and like you alluded to at the beginning of this, the whole I am Iron Man, he snaps his fingers, Thanos dies, everything is restored back, and it's good. But because of the power that it took to do that, Tony Stark dies. Iron Man is dead. And it's obvious that he's dead for good. They had a funeral. I thought one of the greatest scenes of the movie was that funeral at their lake home, where all the cast from all the other Marvel movies kind of returned. They're all dressed in black, and they're kind of, remembering and having a little bit of a memorial service for Stark. What do you think about that?
I really liked it. I thought it was cool. You know, how they just kind of brought the whole arc, the story arc together. Just kind of ended it on that note, like that first kind of chapter of it. But I thought it was really cool. The random dude, we were, like, me and my buddies were like, who the heck is that guy? Like, that's...
So they were panning, the video was panning across everybody who was attending this funeral, and they were all kind of standing in different groups on the lake shore, like between the cabin and the shore, and you recognize everybody, and a few people you forgot about. You're like, oh, that guy or whatever. But then you see this one guy who's standing by himself, who's probably in his early 20s or something, right?
Yeah.
Who was he?
He was the kid from Iron Man 3 who, like, helped Iron Man in wherever he got stranded in that winter place. He helped him, like, charge his suit back up, and he let the parts back out when they were trying to get there, banging on the barn door. He was like, oh crap, I gotta go open that. So he runs out and opens the door and lets it go, and Iron Man ends up, saving Pepper or whatever.
He gave him a suit. He gave that kid a suit, right?
He gave the kid like a bunch of like lab tech to like do a bunch of stuff with after he helped him. And we were like, that's so weird. Like, why would they put some random guy in there? And then later, after I was reading something, I found out that it was the kid from Iron Man 3, and I was like, oh, that's really cool that they added him in there. So.
I was talking to Tony, another of my buddies who's kind of a Avengers, Marvel junkie, and he was reading some stuff, and he said, you remember how Nick Fury kind of sneaks into the back there?
Yeah.
At that funeral scene? And Nick Fury's there. He's reading some stuff, and there's a theory out there that says Nick Fury is actually a bad guy. He's actually with not the Skrulls, but the green guys.
Skrulls?
The Skrulls, yeah. They think Nick Fury is maybe a Skrull, which would be amazing. There's a ton more.
They're good guys.
They're good guys?
Yeah, they're nice. They're from Captain Marvel. At the beginning, they were bad, but
then they became good.
They were good.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see about that. We could talk, and we have been talking about this a lot over the last few days. We got to wrap it up because this is long. Mason, you can have the last word, but I want to say this. What I was surprised by is with all the hype and all the attention and the culmination of 11 years of movies, I just thought it was going to be very, very difficult for these guys to deliver a finale that lived up to the hype. And I would say, without question, it did. I'm excited to go see it again soon because there are some things that we've talked about that I missed the first time that I want to see the second time, and there's probably other stuff that we both missed that we would maybe catch the second time. Plus, even if you didn't miss anything, it's just phenomenal movie, and we'll have it to watch for years and years to come.
I would say one more thing that I forgot about. Captain America, like, going back and living out his old life.
That was awesome.
Getting his dance. I thought that was super awesome, and I thought it was cool how, what's his name? Bucky Barnes, like, he was like, he knew, like, Captain America told him his plan. He was like, I'm going to go back and live with her, so you're going to have to handle this on your own. He was like, whatever, man. And so I think it was just cool how they had that little ending moment
with old Captain America sitting on the bench.
With old Captain America, and Bucky Barnes was like, you take the shield, I don't want it. And
he was talking to Falcon, right?
He was talking to Falcon. He was like, here, you take this. And he arrived, like, naturally by the bench instead of coming back, and you just grew old. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. Anyway, go see Endgame. Go see all the movies leading up to it. Get a guy like Mason in your life who can like help fill in the dots and connect the dots because you're too old and stupid to think about it. So, good times, right?
Good times.
Go Yankees.
Yep.